All right, protests have erupted in Kulgam area of South Kashmir, where a civilian was killed yesterday after an encounter in the area. At least 5 people, including 2 policemen, got injured in clashes between protesters and the police in Kulgam. Protesters were pelting stones at security forces in many areas of Kulgam today, and the police are protesting against these people. In fact, are protesting against the killing of the 19-year-old youth allegedly in a crossfiring during the encounter. Locals allege that he wasn't killed in crossfiring though, but deliberately by the forces. Hurriyat Conference has given a strike call today in Kulgam district against the killing. Shuja Haq is now joining us with more details. Shuja, first of all, take us through the situation in Kulgam at the moment. The visuals seem to suggest that the area remains quite tense.
Well, that's right. Kulgam, to be specific, has been tense since morning. What we are getting to know from local reports is that there were protests that erupted at various places in the Kulgam vicinity, and the security forces have been deployed to maintain law and order there. Remember, a Bandh call has been given out by the Hurriyat Conference today for this area. This is, as you were mentioning in your read, this is basically against the killing that happened yesterday, the civilian death that happened yesterday, in which a 19-year-old boy, Asif, was killed. The police sources said that he was hit by a stray bullet during the encounter, while as the locals allege that he was deliberately targeted and demand action. These are the facts that have come forward. The investigations have been initiated, and the police is saying that they are looking into the circumstances in which his death took place.
Okay. Shuja, also a strike call has been given. Will that worsen the situation there?
Well, a Bandh call has been given by the Hurriyat Conference's Gilani faction, but it is only for this specific area, Kulgam district, so to speak. In terms of whether that would worsen the situation, that is something that we'll have to wait and watch for. But as of now, there are some reports of protests and stone pelting, as you are seeing in these visuals sent by our local teams out there, which are already happening. Security, in their sense, are saying that they've ensured that enough men are on the ground so that no untoward incident happens in that area.
And Shuja, how's the government responding to the situation?
Well, government so far has only said, as I was pointing out earlier, the sources in the police is saying that he was hit by a stray bullet. But the people on the ground do not seem to be buying that. They're demanding strict action. The government is only saying that they will investigate it. The police will investigate the matter, and they will, ascertain the facts in terms of how his death took place.
Shuja, also what many people would want to know is that how were these protesters able to come near the encounter site when a large part of it was cordoned off yesterday when that encounter was going on in Kulgam?
Well, Maha, there is a little bit of doubt in terms of how how he was hit by a bullet, because sources in the police department say that the place where he was standing was not exactly exactly where the protests were taking place. But having said that, it is only an investigation can point out what really happened out there.
Right.
But yes, immediately after the encounter took place, there were protests that erupted against the encounter. Protesters tried to break the cordon area, and that's when the police had to resort to tear gas, smoke shells. But as of now, as I was pointing out, the police is only saying that so far they've figured out that Asif was standing at a place which was not exactly where the protests were taking place, and it's quite possible that he might have been hit by a stray bullet. But that is a version that the locals clearly do not seem to be buying at this point of time.
All right, Shuja, many thanks for joining us with all those details. Protests continue in Kulgam over the killing of one civilian yesterday, allegedly by a stray bullet, as the police is putting it there. However, the locals differ. They say it was deliberately done by the police.